there's a lot of great things going on. We've still got a long ways to go, but like I said, it's a great time and a great place and a great opportunity for women who want to launch a career and work in this business. I think it's greater than it's ever been.
Welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer Podcast, inspiring real women with a passion for fishing and the outdoors to go get their adventure on. Now, here's your host, coming to you from the Lance Chuck Camper Mobile Podcast Studio, Master Captain Angie Scott.
Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Woman Angler and Adventurer Podcast. I'm sitting here still down in Southwest Florida in the Lance Truck Camper Mobile Podcast Studio, and I have a special guest joining me via phone today, Wanda Kenton Smith. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Angie. Before we jump in, I want to congratulate you on your latest achievement with the Woman Angler and Adventurer Podcast. I voted for your show, and I'm so proud of your achievement. Congratulations, girl.
Thank you so much. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. We had some pretty stiff competition there with the Backpacker Radio podcast.
Sure did.
And found out that they have like 23,000 followers on their Instagram. So it just goes to show you the power of the fishing community, and especially women in fishing, when we all band together to support each other. So
absolutely. It's a powerful voice, and thank you for the great job you're doing.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm excited to have you on the show. We've kind of known each other for a couple years now through the Sober Skipper Foundation. And I know you've been in the marine industry for a long time, so I want to talk a little bit about your background in that. And,
sure.
We can kind of start off with, your background is really marketing. How did you get into that, and why do you have such a passion for it?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I was actually a journalism major in college, and I thought my career was going to be in the newspaper business, but I was just very serendipitous. I was at the right place at the right time, and I had an opportunity to take a job with World Publications as the editor of Water Ski Magazine and Water Ski Business. And we later launched Windsurf Magazine, and that's really what launched my career in the marine industry. But what I learned is that the really kind of like the writing and storytelling skills are what actually opened the door to work in the marketing side of the business, because I didn't train or study to be a marketer. It just happened. I was a writer and editor who learned early on how to change my voice for the intended audience. We see a lot of that today with really great content producers and storytellers that work kind of on both sides of the equation. So besides writing and editing and covering the water ski scene, I also work closely with the manufacturers and service providers in that niche. And the ad director at Water Ski at the time had asked me to help write some copy and help direct some marketing initiatives for some of his clients. So that ended up morphing into a role of content providing content for a lot of the advertisers. And one that I worked really closely with was Rob Shirley, who was the founder of Mastercraft Boats. And I was writing probably 95% of all their national ads for them, which they were placing in the magazine. So we really struck up like a great personal and professional relationship. And one day, he and I were sitting next to each other on a flight coming back from Jamaica after covering a water ski tournament. And he asked me why I didn't start an ad agency. And I mean, I'd never even thought about that, and thought never had crossed my mind. And that's really kind of how the idea was born. And I eventually left the editor's role, and Mastercraft became my first national agency account.
Wow.
And that's really kind of the genesis of how the marketing side of my career was launched. And I'm really grateful to have had mentors early on who gave me so many opportunities and encouraged me to step out on my own. But it's the ability to take a skill set, that I had learned as a trained journalist, and take those same skills and cross them over to marketing. Of course, throughout my industry career, I've had lots of opportunities to grow and learn and, invest in my own professional development and education. And it's been a phenomenal 40-year career.
Wow. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. How long ago did you start the company? And so and you've won a lot of accolades over the years as well.
I've been fortunate, it's kind of the ability to be at the crossroads where your passion and your skill set intersect, and to be able to work with some phenomenal clients and on some fantastic brands, and to be able to do some really good work with a great group of people. And so I feel like I've been really blessed.
Yeah. So where are you based out of?
I'm up in the Panhandle now of Florida, Pace, Florida. It's right outside of Pensacola, kind of between Pensacola and Destin.
Nice.
Actually, grew up in this area. Dad was a military pilot, lived overseas, ended up retiring right outside of Pensacola because it's the home of the Blue Angels.
Mm-hmm.
And I left for 40 years and came back and call this home now. So it's great to be back up in this beautiful area of great waters. Fabulous area for boating, obviously.
Yes, definitely not a bad place to be at all. Still a little too chilly up there for me in the winter time. That's why I gotta come.
Actually, it's surprising because we do have a change of season. We're able to get the boots out here in Florida, but it was really crazy cold. We were like 20 degrees this season. So I much prefer the warmer weather, and I'm looking forward to it returning quickly.
Yes, yeah. I'm like, if we're gonna go to Florida, we're gonna go south of Tampa. That seems to be the line there.
That's okay. We've got great. It's not nearly as busy up here, so we kind of like that side of it. But love all aspects of the state. Used to live in Sarasota when I worked with Freedom Boat Club, so
nice.
Certainly know that area and love it as well.
Very cool. Well, yeah. So I didn't realize you did work with Freedom Boat Club in your career. Talk a little bit about that.
I know that you have a role there with Freedom, and I actually worked probably maybe 4 years prior to the Brunswick acquisition. I was chief marketing officer, and pretty much my role was to help introduce the boat club concept and the sharing economy to the industry at large, and worked with a great group of people and had a blast there. I'm a big fan of the of Freedom and the boat club concept, and we had a lot of success, and I'm really thrilled to see how well Brunswick has taken it to the next level.
Yeah, well, I love it, absolutely love it, and feel very blessed to be a part of it at a franchise level. And we actually have our big Freedom Boat Club Forum conference going on. It will be probably after this podcast airs. It'll already have happened, but in a couple weeks here as we're recording this in Cape Coral. And that's always such a great week to get together with all the different franchisees and the corporate folks and Brunswick and all of that. So can't wait for that event. But unfortunately, it's after that we have to head back to Nashville, back to the cold.
Got it.
So
well, I'll tell you, one of the things that I love most about the boat club model, is the whole focus on the training, the boating safety and the training. I love the way that the club brings newbies into the club and provides that awesome training experience before people can ever take the boat out. Whether you're a seasoned skipper or you're a newbie, you have to go through the training course. And then the access to, a whole fleet of boats. I've owned 5 boats in my history, and I just absolutely loved being a member of the club and being able to use different boats and being able to use the reciprocal aspect and go to different places around the country and go boating. So, it's a wonderful concept, and it's tremendous to see the growth that's taken off.
Yeah, so I started off as a training captain in Nashville, and that's one of my favorite features of boat club membership, because you don't really get an opportunity to have that hands-on, on-the-water training experience many other places, unfortunately. And we're starting to see some programs pop up here and there, and so hopefully there'll be more opportunities for just general people buying boats to have some on-the-water.
So important.
Yeah.
So important. I mean, you just can't give somebody a key and let them go. There's just too much to learn. And I think it behooves all of us in the industry to be concerned about that and to be looking for opportunities to continue to grow boating education. And, COVID, one of the cool things that happened as a result of COVID was the opportunity to kind of morphed the training that was always like one-on-one or small group training that many organizations would host into online training. And now, there's hybrid models, but the ability to be able to get your training and participate online just brings education so much more, available, makes it so much more available to people. And I think that's really one of the positive aspects about what happened in the boating industry as a result of COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. So that kind of morphs into the next topic I wanted to talk about, because boating safety, I can tell, is also a huge passion of yours. And I believe you started the International Women in Boating organization.
Yeah, actually I did. It's interesting because when I first started in the boating industry, and you would go to a boat show, for example, there were very few women there on the trade side of it. Obviously, a lot of women shoppers that were there with their spouses or with their families, but there were a handful of us, at least on the executive front, probably a lot of women working in dealerships and that type of thing. But when it went to like going to boat shows, you just wouldn't see a lot of women working. And so it's been awesome for me to see the growth of women over my career. And it's been a concentrated effort to help pave the way, with a handful of women that, were actively engaged at the early stages kind of the industry. So I've long been involved in advocating and championing women. And I'm really thrilled to see the gains women have made since my early days. And I think we've got a long ways to go, but we've certainly come a long way as well.
Yeah.
So you asked about International Women in Boating. There were two initiatives I was involved with kind of in the early days. Back in the early 90s, I launched a training firm that was called Marine Marketing to Women. And I basically put together a training program and went around the country speaking to various groups within the industry about the buying power and the influence of women, in the purchasing process, because women just weren't given the attention or the respect really that they deserved. And I'd gone to the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show and brought a camera crew, and we did some filming down there, kind of squirrel filming, if you will, behind the scenes. And we saw all sorts of images where a couple would come up on a boat and a sales guy would be there, and he would direct all of his attention to the guy. I mean, you could see the woman's body language just screaming because she just wasn't even acknowledged at all. And we interviewed women at that show, and so many of them gave us great insight about, how they needed to be heard and understood and respected. And, so my training program brought that type of information to light. We shared a really cool video at the time that was very eye-opening for a lot of people in the industry. And we shared, economic info about their influence in the buying decision. And so I spoke to dealers at boat shows, at industry and manufacturer conferences, and we did a lot of PR and, really tried to raise the level of awareness of women, the importance that they have, and whether people, not what brand they buy, but whether they buy a boat at all.
Right.
So that was really fun. I mean, I really enjoyed that. That was a very fulfilling initiative. And then you asked me about the International Women in Boating. So at the same time that the Marine Marketing to Women training was going on, I got together with a handful of women that I knew, that I worked with in various industry positions, and talked to them about forming an association or an organization for women, and 100% support for that. So we organized International Women in Boating, and it was the first association of women in the recreational boating industry. And we grew it from a grassroots group of a few dozen to 300 plus, dues paying members at the time. Wow. And my agency managed it until it just got big that, we couldn't handle it. And we had a national awards program, networking luncheons at key boat shows, speakers, that type of thing. And then the NMMA ended up taking it over, successfully managed it for several years until the industry hit one of our industry declines, and staffing shortages led to its eventual closure.
Gotcha.
So it was a great ride, and it was a great organizer for, a lot of women, and many of us still enjoy great relationships that were forged way back in that early day. But, there's a lot of women initiatives underway today, and I'm really proud to see so many people and organizations continuing to support, the gathering and the organization of women in the industry.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, I'm hearing a lot of parallels with women in boating and women in fishing. We have a lot of those same conversations where women walk into a big, fishing retailer and the salesman's only talking to the guy, so
yep.
It's a very similar struggle, but we're definitely making some strides in the right direction. And
well, I think so much of it's education, Angie. It's like, and the sad thing today is so many of the people working, like on the retail side of it, grew up with moms working, with working and professional moms, so that they know women have, buying power. So that's a little bit of a disconnect. But I think that's part of what we have to do, is continue to talk about it and continue to make waves, if you will, so that people understand that there's a great opportunity for us to involve more women and engage more women in boating, fishing, sailing, all aspects of the boating lifestyle. It's a great opportunity for women to become empowered and to become strong consumers for our products and services.
Yep, absolutely. Well, will you be at the Miami Boat Show here coming up?
I can't wait. I'm looking forward
Awesome.
to it. How about you? This
will be my first one. And so I'm excited to see a lot of women there, I'm sure now. That things have changed a lot over the years, but I will only be able to be there on Friday. I'm kind of making it a day trip. It's going to be a lot to try and take in a day, but I'm excited to just kind of see it firsthand.
Yeah, it's a big show, and I'm looking forward to the convention center. They've totally revamped the convention center, and I'm looking forward to that Discover Boating experience that NMMA and Informa have put on, that's geared towards introducing new people to boating. I can't wait to go see that myself for the first time. So, it's exciting to see that the industry is continuing to try to evolve and bring more people into the sport and the lifestyle.
Yeah, it's important to continue to grow the industry. So, seeing definitely some great things going on behind the scenes that are, getting extended out to the consumers and making a difference. So,
I was just going to mention, there's a handful of groups that have done I think a tremendous job in raising awareness and getting women in the industry, more actively engaged. I'm not sure whether you're aware of all of these, but I thought I would just share it so that your audience might be interested to know that. But the team at Boating Industry Magazine sponsors annually the Women Making Waves recognition program. Mm-hmm. And there's usually 30 women or so from throughout the industry. They're nominated, and a panel of judges selects them, and they're spotlighted, and there's an awards presentation to recognize women throughout the industry, for their outstanding achievements. And they also host a women's panel at the Elevate Leadership Summit that they sponsor and promote every year, which is really awesome. And I've been actively engaged and moderated 2 of the panels. And, you get top women from throughout, different segments of the industry sharing their best practices to help and inspire and motivate and educate others. And there's women and men both that attend that event. So they've also launched a women's advisory council with the hope to be able to give input to the magazine on how they can help better promote and support women. And then Boating Industry and the MRAA, Marine Retailers Association of the Americas, they have a foundation, and they co-sponsor the Darlene Briggs Woman of the Year recognition program, which they've been doing for, 30 plus years. It's a fantastic program. And then I don't know when you're going to be in Miami on that Friday, if you're planning to attend, but Michelle Goldsmith and our friends at Soundings and AIM Media have done a great job they host these professional development seminars and webinars. And they've also recently launched a women's mentoring program in the industry, and they've gained a lot of momentum. I give them a lot of credit for the work they're doing. And of course, your friend and mine, Stephanie Battlero of the RBFF, and her team have done a great job focusing on growing women's participation in fishing. Mm-hmm. And I think you're also actively engaged with the Outdoor Women's online forum and community that she's launched also. And last one I had, I don't know how well you know or have worked with Betty Bauman, but she and I have been friends for a whole lot of years, and she has done a fantastic job raising the banner and engaging women in fishing for many, many years. So there's a lot of great things going on. You know, we've still got a long ways to go, but like I said, it's a great time and a great place and a great opportunity for women who want to launch a career and work in this business. I think it's greater than it's ever been.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for sharing all those resources. I'll try to include links to all those in the show notes for the episode. And I did just, I've had Betty on the show briefly at ICAST a couple years ago, but I did a longer interview with her just the other day here. So that will be probably coming out before this episode, but I'll put a link to that too in case anybody missed that conversation, because she's been doing great things for women in fishing for many, many years.
For a long time. Yeah, she's awesome.
Well, before we wrap this up and I let you go, I do want to touch on one other thing. I saw on your website a hull of a tour motorcycling. So I just wanted you to kind of touch on that a little bit. What's that all about?
Well, you know, I have two passions in life. I'm a motorcyclist who's a boater, and I thought, how cool would it be to be able to combine my two favorite passions and to create something that's never been done before. And so that's what I did. I put together a Boaters and Bikers of America hull of a tour. And over the last 10 years, I've organized 5 tours across the country, different locations throughout the country. So it's people in the boating industry who are bikers who also like to boat. So the unique aspect of our tour is that we mix motorcycling with fun boating stops along the way. So it's been a blast. We've been all over the country. You know, we did our first trip 10 years ago was from Destin to San Diego, and it was a 10-day trip, 3,000 miles. And we did a lot of really cool exploring on our bikes and stopped at some really cool places and splashed down and, in San Diego Bay, and went boating and sailing with our friends from South Coast Yachts. And people have hosted us at all sorts of fun boating locations, and then we get the best of both worlds, being able to ride and boat at the same time.
That's super cool. So funny story is I had a motorcycle, and then when I decided to buy my first boat, I was like, well, I guess I need to sell the motorcycle because, well, first of all, I needed the money to buy the boat. That was the big thing. But the other thing was, I'm like, okay, well, when the weather is beautiful, am I going to be motorcycling or am I going to be boating? And so at that time, I was leaning toward boating. And it's kind of hard sometimes to choose between the two because they're both kind of dependent on the weather to some degree. And so that's super interesting that you were able to combine the two passions.
Well, we're working on COVID kind of stopped us over the last 2 years just because, the ability to be able to find places to stay and to travel as a group was pretty prohibitive, really. So we're talking about doing a 10th anniversary tour, and I'll definitely keep you posted and let you know. Would love to have you come ride with us and come boating with us, or maybe we'll stop and see you and you can take us boating there in Texas.
Tennessee.
Oh, you're Tennessee. Okay.
Yeah. Our first tournament of the year is in Texas, so we'll be down there soon enough.
Awesome.
If all goes well. But so do you have anything coming up that you want to mention?
Well, not really anything coming up per se, but I would love to put a plug in for 2 of the causes that I volunteer for that I'm most passionate about, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
The one is the CETO Foundation. They're my former PR client, but I continue to serve on the executive committee of the National Advisory Council, of which you're a part.
Yes.
And I was actively engaged and involved when we formed the Advisory Council, National Advisory Council. And this group is really focused on how to better promote boating safety within the recreational, boating industry on the for-profit side of it. And so they've done a great job launching a national awards program to recognize the best boating safety efforts in the recreational marine space, and their Sober Skipper program. Always designate a sober skipper. The messaging is so important. They do the life jacket loaner stations and just do a tremendous job raising awareness and the need for boating safety. So I'm very proud of that affiliation. And then I'm serving my second term on the National Boating Safety Advisory Council of the U.S. Coast Guard. And I'll tell you, having worked in the industry as long as I've worked in it, my eyes were really opened when I started working in this appointed capacity with the Coast Guard to realize, the accidents and the seriousness of boating safety and how we as an industry really need to rally around it and find positive messaging to promote the need for people to be boating and understanding all the safety provisions that go along with that. We as an industry need to do a better job of positively promoting the messaging of boating safety, for people to wear a life jacket, not to drink and drive, and to just be educated and safe on the waterways. So those are the two, passions that I have. I love being able to help promote that. We have so many new people that have come into our ranks, during COVID, because we offered an opportunity for people to be able to go out and enjoy recreation. And it's just important that we, as an industry, recognize our importance and our stewardship in educating these people so they can be safe and enjoy their time on the water. Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you for mentioning those two great organizations. And I'm sure both of those I know the CETO Foundation has a website, so I can share that. And I'm sure the Coast Guard one does as well.
Sure. Yeah. And I'll be happy to send you anything that you need and, help support your efforts in the way that I can. I appreciate all that you do to help promote boating safety and for the good work that you're doing, promoting women and all the good things that you do on your podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for taking some time out of your day to be on the show. And I look forward to continuing to keep in touch with you and all the work that you're doing in the industry.
Thank you so much, Angie, and congratulations again on your achievement. And let's all work together to help promote boating safety, boating education, get more women involved in this awesome sport of ours.
Absolutely. We're better together.
You got it, girl.